story. You guys, this is Bushra, and I'd love for her to introduce herself, and we'll go ahead and continue this conversation.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Latonia, and hello everybody who's here joined in. Welcome to this discussion. First of all, Latonia, before I even go ahead and start about myself, I would like to congratulate you on being here, sharing this space with so many of us, for doing what you're doing, for giving opportunities to others, for sharing your story. You've been through a lot, and you to be here like a shining star, I congratulate you on that. Seriously. I mean, all the first experience you told me you had the baby in the car.
Yeah, and
are you serious? I mean, that in itself, it's a movie. it's a
in the hospital room and looking at the TV, and all the news stations was talking about my birth. The birth story of how this woman had her baby in a Home Depot parking lot. And that baby just came in with his own story that I went through. It was like he came with his own purpose in life, and I birthed that life. And I was sitting there watching the TV, and I'm like, did this really just happen? And that's like a whole story within itself. That experience.
I feel like it was symbolic and a new direction in your life. It was almost symbolic to your new life and to your new beginning. I think all of us right now are going through so many different emotions and waves. You know, the pandemic has changed everybody's life. But, you know, there's this one saying that sometimes the darkness is necessary so we can enjoy the light when we get to the light. But the darkness is sometimes necessary for us to see the stars that exist in our life and to get to that brightness again. You know, this is like everybody says, it's a journey of life. And this pandemic has shifted and changed everybody's life. Yes, I graduated from University of Maryland with a master's in social work and therapy. I have completed my education and I'm a therapist now. I will be, excuse me one moment, please. Yes. We have a little it's okay, distraction. You know,
give us your background. Let us know a little bit about the work you do.
Okay, so I like I said, I did my master's in therapy and social work, and I did my undergrad in psychology, and I worked with clients who go through alcoholism, addiction, and depression. I've worked with clients who have chronic diseases like diabetes, and I've worked with young teens who go through depression, anxiety, separation anxiety. So I've worked with a lot of different populations, but my goal always has been to bring in a little bit of dynamic of change, you know, whatever situation you are in, to know the power that you can change your situation. Mm-hmm. That is a very powerful thing to have. A lot of us, especially during these times, have lost hope. And you know, hope is the key that keeps us going, and the hope for change, and the hope for that we have what it takes to make change happen, even though you may be feeling stuck, even though you might not be your 100%. But this is the time to grab on to that little bit of hope, you know. The grief, I would tell you, grief is a natural response to loss. Any kind of loss that you have experienced in life, grief is your body's natural way of dealing with that loss. Now, that loss can be of a loved one, that loss can be of a job, that loss can be of a relationship. And many of us have experienced simultaneously all those losses right now.
I feel like you named my whole entire year.
Hi there. Hello, Marine. I want to say hello to everyone thank you for being here, guys. So a little bit of personal loss I wanted to share, which made me a completely brand new person. For the past 2-3 years, I've been going through some personal things, but I lost my dad in 2019. And that hit me hard. That hit me hard. But my father was a person who always looked at the silver lining of the cloud. And from him, I learned that I must live life every day to the fullest. I have here someone who says he wants to say something. Okay, you can make a comment, and we will look at your comments too. Please go ahead and say what you have to say.
Yeah,
I like to
read them and respond to them. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Comment what you would like to say.
So, I have felt that way. I have felt being stuck. I've felt my capabilities being narrowed down to 0. I know what it feels like to be stagnant. And the first step, is to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, allow yourself to feel that. Now, there are like scientific models that talk about all of this. Psychological models psychologists have come up with, and they talk about this. And to some extent, it does make sense. But in a layman's term, if I say, grief needs time, grief needs space, grief needs love, grief needs support, you can never underestimate the power of human connection.
Yes.
The power of human touch, the power of human connection, the power of support, somebody's kind words, somebody's warm hug. All of these things are so important part of overcoming your grief. Now, I have actually a scientific definition. It says grieving is a healthy response to your loss. There are many kinds of losses. While grieving, you may bounce back and forth between feeling shock, denial, anger, guilt, sadness, and acceptance. Now, Kubler-Ross was a psychologist, and he made 5 stages of grief. There is anger, denial, anger, guilt, sadness, acceptance. So those are all, okay. I'm trying to read some of these comments also. I'm with you on that. Yes, absolutely. So the 5 stages are, the anger, the denial, I'm not sure where I am. Why did this happen? Try to make sense of it, then depression, then acceptance. So I feel like I've been through all of those phases of grief. But the most important one was allowing myself that space, giving myself that room, that yes, I'm not 100% functional right now. It's all right. Making small goals for myself to overcome the challenge of the day, not trying to completely take upon a new project or, take upon something big, and allowing myself to be vulnerable and allowing myself to feel that way, because it is a major loss, then, losing, the whole family dynamic has changed. Everybody's working from home. Children are going to school from home. They have experienced their loss. And as a mother, it's your responsibility to help them, cope with that while you're coping with your own. So that's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility on your plate.
That was definitely the case for me. I had to be very mindful of their losses too. And then to not finish the school year, and then both of their teachers, I have 2 daughters, and both of their teachers left the school. Like, this was their last year and they didn't get to say goodbye. And that
Yes.
makes me feel sad. I can imagine
Yes.
how they felt with these teachers they loved and they didn't get to say goodbye. And, you know, we're all trying to navigate. So yes, you're nailing it. And you're so right, Michelle. I was doing my best to give myself the space to grieve. Giving myself the space to protect my emotions when I didn't understand them.
Yes.
Being able to say, no, I can't do this right now. Or, you know what? No, even telling the school who put in a immeasurable amount of expectations on parents without asking us permission. You know, we all were thrown into whatever they had to figure out. And, you know, I even had to push back with the school to just be like, I'm not going to do this. And this is what I'm able to do. And really be able to set the boundaries.
Yes. Yes.
For many of us to do that when we don't know how. And I want to make sure in this conversation we're sharing, how can we start to set boundaries for the grief in whatever way we're experiencing it, so we can get to where we want to be once again, get back to moving forward again, getting back to honoring the grief in a way that supports us and restores hope. You nailed it. Like, I had a event this past weekend honoring a woman, and the whole purpose of this ceremony was about restoring hope. And the award is this art piece I have on the wall behind me. It's called I Am Anya, Woman of Hope. And it's literally an award. I won an award. This art piece was selected out of hundreds of art pieces into the Johnson & Johnson's Art of Ending the Stigma campaign last year. And the art piece got to go on a tour nationally across the country into health, hospitals, healthcare settings, schools, universities, talking about how artists are using their own self-expression to overcome depression and anxiety. And so I was fortunate enough that my art piece was selected, and it has
Congratulations on that. Yes.
And it has become an art piece that I have given to women to help bring back hope into their life in just the ways that you shared. And so when I think about grief, this is one of the ways I do it. So having an inspiration wall, having art pieces that help me remember the journey that I'm on. I'm going to share some more stuff, but I want you to continue speaking as well, because I just wanted to say you're hitting the nail on the head. Some of that acceptance piece is saying, okay, I'm going through something right now. I need to process what is happening. And for me personally, I needed time by myself a little bit to just gather myself, but I also knew I needed that connection for so many reasons, that human connection, because I had just had a baby, and usually that's a time when your family can be there and be around you, and I didn't have that because of the pandemic this year. I literally had to say hi to my parents through a window because we didn't know what this thing was at the time, and it was so hard.
You walk.
I am who you know me now to be. I felt so much guilt because I'm like, wow, I'm LaTonya. I teach journaling, and at a time when the whole world needs help navigating this pandemic and social distancing, I'm not there. I had a lot of guilt I was putting on myself for not being there. But I had
But
to
the thing,
myself, and that's
you have to take care of self. It starts with the self. It starts with the universe that you are, that you contain in yourself. But I mean, that's why I started by congratulating you, because I feel like you've already done so much. Given birth, becoming a new mom, going through the postpartum, going through a new pandemic, fear of the unknown, grief. So you had a lot going on. I'm saying I want to give you a clap